If you've been watching my homebrew campaign, The Darkness Over Dragon's Pine, and I'll put a little card up top so you can see the playlist, you'll have noticed that the adventures have gone from essentially, I started them out at kind of a level 0 almost, just my own way to sort of introduce it, but level 0.5 all the way up to now level 4. And so they've been able to gain those levels by gaining experience points. And it sort of occurred to me that that's something that I haven't really talked about, is experience points. What are they? How do you accumulate them? What are the methods for doing that? And so let's spend a few minutes talking about that. All right, to talk about XP or experience points, we're going to need to dig into all 3 of these to see how these different pieces of the puzzle fit together. All right, so here we are in the player's handbook here. We're going to talk about experience points in the chapter on creating a character, chapter 1. I think it's chapter 1, part 1, creating a character, chapter 1, step by step. Characters on page, I think, 18 is where we get into, no, I'm wrong, on page 15 is where they talk about experience points in the tiers of play. And this table here shows you character advancement and experience points from 0 all the way up to 355,000, which is level 20. You could imagine a campaign taking years for players to get this many points to accumulate. And so my campaign started out with the guys at 0, now they're up to level 4, so they have 2,700 plus. So I'll show you where these experience points come from as we move on to the other books, but just look at the kind of growth rate here in experience points: 0 to 3, 3 to 9, 9 to 27. So you've got 3 times multiples there. Then it starts to slow down a little bit: 27 to 65, 65 to 14. So a little bit more like double, and then but it still climbs quite a bit. And that's it. And you can see that also that's where proficiency bonus comes from, is dependent upon your level. So kind of tying all these things in together. So next we'll look at, how do you gain experience points? How does a Dungeon Master dole those out? All right, in the Dungeon Master's Guide here, Dungeon Master's Guide, on chapter 3, where, let's see, creating encounters. We flip through here. That's so cool. Let me see if I can get this right. There we go. Adventuring Day XP. So there's a lot of sort of content in here that explains how XP or experience points are used in terms of understanding what a adventuring group can handle. Here's your Adventuring Day XP. This is sort of a heuristic or a rule of thumb, I guess, on how many experience points a player character should expect to accumulate on a given adventuring day. And that is, and if you look at this, assuming typical adventuring conditions and average luck, most adventuring parties can handle about 6 to 8 medium or hard encounters in a day. We don't have time to do 6 to 8. We're playing about 2 hours at a time, so we can do 2 probably, maybe 3 max. But anyways, so we're not anywhere near this many, accumulating this many XP per session. But these XP sort of help you understand, as a Dungeon Master, how to plan for the encounter. And there's a lot of stuff in here about that. Creating random encounters, understanding sort of how to keep your player characters alive without having, you can imagine a group of 4 level 3 characters fighting an adult red dragon. That's deadly. They're not going to last that. But a group of 4 third level characters fighting 2 ogres, yeah, that's going to be a tough encounter, but they'll probably survive that. So, so that's all in the Dungeon Master's Guide. And the final book is, where do those XP come from? I'm going to go to the Monster Manual here, and I'm going to flip to the page where, let's see, in the last encounter, my group had a battle in the, I think it's going to be in the very back actually, in the battle in the water with a giant crocodile. And I'll show you as we're flipping through these pages. Here we go. Giant crocodile, where the XP comes from. it's in parentheses right there next to the challenge rating. So for that fight, they earned 1800 XP. That is not per character. That is 1800 XP for the encounter. So then each character, I divide 1800 by 4, and that is the amount that each of my characters gets for this particular battle. And I'm kind of a stingy dungeon master. I maybe am a little old school, but I stick pretty closely to this. A lot of dungeon masters award XP for, well, I've seen them award XP for just role playing or uncovering something interesting, and to me that's just part of being an adventurer in Dungeons and Dragons. I think you earn this experience by overcoming these encounters, and so that's just how I run it. It's totally up to the dungeon master how they run it, and as long as everyone kind of agrees ahead of time, that's all that matters is that everybody's on board with how the experience is gained. And so for that session, they fought a giant crocodile, and they fought something else. I don't remember what it was. It wasn't as deadly. It might have been the werebore again. But either way, I would add the XP for that particular creature. So say it was the giant crocodile and a rust monster, then I would add 100 plus whatever that was, the giant crocodile, 1400. Yeah, sorry, 1800. So 1900, and then divide that by 4, and that's what they would all get. Pretty simple. All right, so that's a little bit of background, I guess, on experience points and what they mean and how they matter to determining as a dungeon master what are your player characters earning, and then what can they attack or what can they expect to tackle in terms of any encounter. And one of these days I'll show you guys Dungeon Master's Guide. I built an Excel calculator tool that basically goes down all of these steps: XP threshold, determine the party's XP, total up the monster's XP. It uses some lookup tables to pull out monster's XP, modify the encounter for the number of creatures in it, and then use these multipliers down here to do the comparison of the XP so that I can quickly, using kind of on the fly, my Excel tool to determine, hey, they're getting into a hard encounter, they're getting ready to fight something, something like this. What's that gonna do to them? This is an Anishag. Be kind of careful how you pronounce that. I like this one, it's a little easier. This is a spirit troll. So what's the XP for a spirit troll? When they're coming after you. And what's the challenge rating, which is based on which is sort of related to the XP. And then so if I've got 4 characters and they're fighting this guy, what's the chances are that they're gonna actually beat this guy versus this guy taking at least one of them out of the game, which I don't really like to do. That happens sometimes, we are rolling dice. But anyways, I'll show that in a subsequent video, that Excel file that I built, so that you guys can see and you can create your own tools however you like. And so that's it on experience points. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. If anything's fuzzy from that conversation on experience points or XP, let me know and I'll go back and see if I can clarify. And don't forget to like the page here, and I'm gonna put some other videos right here if you're interested on other Dungeon Master tips. So have a great day.